We are here. We are here. Welcome back to the Coaches Huddle. It's your boy, the coach. We're out of the play. We're out of it, man. We're out of it. It's another show. We got cover 2 with Jesse. Listen, man, loosen up the tie a little bit. Let's just calm down for a second. The season's over. Jesse's got his Cabo shirt on. He's obviously about to go to the airport after the show. The Niners season is over. Niners fall to the Seattle Seahawks 41-6 in divisional NFC round of the playoffs, finishing 13-6 on the season. And let's talk about it. You know, let's just get straight to it. But before we get to it, I got my boy Jesse, my dog, my right-hand man, rode with me through the whole season. We still going to ride out for the rest of the offseason. How you doing, Jess?
I'm fantastic, Coach. As I let you know in the back, this is not a paid sponsor, but Celsius, man, is where it's at. I'm telling you, If you need to pick me up, these guys are great. You saw the boyish charm in the back because I was so excited to have my Celsius ready to go. I'm great, Coach. Great. I need a sponsorship. I need a sponsorship. It's me fishing for one right there. Celsius. Shout out to Celsius. I'm great, Coach. Listen, you and I talked yesterday very briefly.
Good mood?
Because why not, man? I've got good health. My family's in good health. I'm doing a Monday cover 2 with Coach, my favorite guy. Like, what do you mean? Why shouldn't I be in a good mood? Plus, if yesterday's conversation is any indication of how this thing's going to go, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight, Coach. We're going to have a lot of fun.
All right, look, man, listen. So let's get into it, man. We finished off 13-6, even though it was a bad loss, ugly. We got curb stomped. Let's just get it out of the way. Me and you had a very, let's say, lively debate about how we contextualize the season, right? So I guess the main question is, what lens are you viewing the 13-6 season through, right? I don't want to sit here and say, before we get there, let's just start a couple of ground rules. This is just perspective. This isn't about positive or negative tilt. This is just all about what we choose to prioritize with the information that we both know about the season. So, how do you feel about the season?
Well, the season by itself, which I think is a completely separate conversation than probably, well, we're going to go down a bunch of different paths, but
we will.
The season by itself, I view as positive, right? Like, they did exceed expectations, everybody's expectations. I mean, I didn't hear anybody saying that they're going to be fighting for the number 1 seed or, win 12 games or, maybe playoff game, what have you. They exceeded my expectations. I had them as a 10-win team. I said they would get to the playoffs. They would lose in round 1. So as far as that goes, they exceeded my expectations. I think defensively, we got to see some of the rookies play, which was nice. Offensively, not so much. And we saw some positive things. I think you and I talked about this many times. This was our favorite season under the Shanahan regime, in large part because we saw them fight and work through close games and learn how to win, and they were battle tested, and they went through so many injuries and quarterback injuries, tight end injury. I mean, literally everybody got injured except for the 2 guys we expected most to get injured, which was CMC and Trent Williams. Like, everybody else got injured, and somehow, some way they fought through the season. And I think overall, like, my thought is like, damn, I'm low-key kind of proud of this team. It's been a while since I felt this way, but they overachieved. They exceeded expectations. The season as a whole, I think, was positive.
All right.
Until the end. But go ahead.
Okay. You know what? I agree with everything. I mean, there's a couple of things that I would have thrown in there. We fucking killed in our money with dead cap, right? We cleaned up a lot of mess financially with what we with letting go of certain guys, kind of biting the bullet on certain people that we let go. We were able to tamp down a lot of outside force, a lot of outside noise with the locker room. The Brandon Ayuk situation, didn't hear you bring that up. That's a whole different saga that was bubbling on the surface the entire time. Tons of injuries. playing through injuries, including our quarterback being down, only playing one game into his freshly new minted contract, and then all of a sudden Mac Jones coming through and having basically an entire mini season with Mac Jones, right? Mac Jones birthing new wrinkles and new processes in the offense that we have been begging to see for multiple years. New hurry up, all right, changing the tempo of the offense, 2-minute drill being implemented into the offense. Also, adaptability, right? Making lemons out of lemonade. We could not run the ball in the beginning of the season. It took us about a month and a half to actually score a touchdown. I think we scored our first touchdown by week 6. I believe, I could be wrong, but it's in that area of the season. And still being able to find a way to win on offense. There's just not a lot that I could really harp on. Now, you could look at the trade deadline, the veracity of how active they were during that day. All right. I feel like there's something that gets missed with the trade deadline situation is that you could be mad about the trade deadline, like that deadline, that day, or that week rather, but you can't say that we weren't active in the trades, right? We had brought on B-Rob, who came on early for us, picking up Cleveland Farrell, who wasn't a trade, but we did pick him up off of waivers, actually getting Keon White, bringing on Bryce Huff earlier into the season was somebody that helped us out early throughout the year. So I just think that there's a lot that you can pull from this season that could help us out further down the line next year. And I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for us to just go ahead and just start. Just get it out of the way. What do you think about the negatives of the season? What do you think?
I think, well, this season did leave me confused, Coach. Very confused. I feel like we went a majority of the season not knowing what this team was. And the moment that I feel like we had it figured out, we go into Seattle, Seattle comes to Santa Clara.
Right.
We score 3 points. And it's like, oh, gosh, maybe this team just isn't that good. Then you go to Philadelphia and win. It's like, okay, all right, maybe they are good again. And then they get absolutely beat down in epic proportion against the Seattle Seahawks. And it's like, I'm left confused again. I still don't know what this team really was. Like, were they actually a good team? Were they a product of the schedule and beating up on bad teams? I mean, and then there was a stat that came out today of Brock Purdy, which was like, basically against teams that are worth a damn, he was terrible. And teams that were not good, he just beat up on and boosted, like stat padded outside of the Chicago Bears. Like every other team that was good, just trash. And then when they would play bad teams, he stat padded. And I feel like that was kind of what this team was, low key. They just really they weren't battle tested. And when they did get battle tested in those final few games, it was like, I don't know, man. I'm confused as to what they actually are. And then that leaves me almost more confused about the future of this team. I don't know if I should be excited, if I should temper expectations. Should they tear the whole thing down? Like, where is the optimism, I guess? It's really hard to find that when I don't even know what to make of this season as a whole, to be real with you.
So, for me, there's one word that comes up to me that would characterize this team perfectly for me. And that word is valor. I went to military school. That's like a big part of my story. And valor is basically defined as brave courage in the face of danger, especially when someone knows the outcome may be bad, but chooses to stand and fight anyway. And that is something that we have lacked through this regime for many years, where we have not gone out and fought our level best and done everything we could and left no stone left unturned, okay? Played everybody that we could in the processes in which they could be, in the processes in which they could be helpful to the team, playing rookies, actually challenging the coaching staff to get these guys prepared and ready. Now, albeit Some of this stuff wasn't by design. They just had to play rookies. They had to get guys on the field. But I think that it made better experiences for rookies that we have tons of players now with time on task. We got young guys who have played too deep into the playoffs, right? And understand what that pressure feels like on the road. We got guys that have gone in and played most of our games down to the wire, all right? Coming back in games, being able to play through injury, getting benched, and then coming back. Like, that's a huge ego thing where most young guys, once they get on the field, it's a hard time to pull them off or even keep them engaged if they have to move on. Like, all of that stuff I feel like is going to help us down the line. Again, now that we're in the offseason, the money. We did all of this without signing a Chase Young or a Javon Hargrave, right? Like, we got through the season, still held form, walked into every battle that we could. We didn't duck nobody this year. We played everybody that was in front of us, and we did our level best. I'm proud of that. And I think that it starts a new core of what these guys are expecting for as a standard moving forward. Before, it was the core, and you got all of these guys that just kind of felt like low-key. They were just kind of signing their name on the group project, right? And guys that just really had to be taught how to play the Niner way. But I believe that this year, there are so many hands in the pot. There's so many young guys that have no idea what this team has done or where they've been, and they still pushed it to this level. You have a new level of expectation, a new level of standard that, yes, it may look like what it was in the past of, all gas or no brakes or running back the quest for six. I don't think that's the energy next year. I don't think that these guys are going to be coming in here talking about, let's run it back. They're going to be coming in here talking about, we got our ass whooped in front of the nation by a team that we see twice a year, and we got to be ready next year. I think that puts on a whole new, I think that resets the vision. I really do.
I disagree with you. I don't think that's their mentality at all. I think that's a great mentality to have. But if you listen to these players talk, Trent Williams talking about, well, I mean, we were playing with house money. We knew with all the injuries, we could have done a lot better. And then Diamador Lenore is like, oh, well, if we had our guys, this would have been a blowout in the other direction. It's like, okay, so that's what the leaders of the team are telling you. So they're telling you that they think they're fine. They're fine.
That's two different sides of that's two different sides of the spectrum. One, Diamador Lenore, I wish now. Consider the source, Jesse. We're not going to get on here talking crazy on the internet
He's the
about
captain of this team, isn't he?
You can't take Diamador Lenore serious with all of the Twitters and the foibles and all of the stuff that he does. Like, come on, bro. You can't take him seriously. Diamador Lenore, who is
Trent
known
Williams,
for talking.
Both captains of this team. But go ahead.
Hold on. And your point with Trent Williams was what you expect to hear from a 17-year vet who is always looking at an expectation of, I'm playing to win the Super Bowl no matter what. So what I just said, you're not going to get out of Trent Williams, who's going to sit here and say, yeah, man, as long as we stay the course, division win, that's promising. Maybe we can get to an NFC Championship game if we keep our noses clean and drink our Ovaltine. No, you're not going to get that from him as a veteran. All right, so I understand that. But what I'm saying is that the main issue has been transplanting the core, right? Finding a new core, right? This old core is old. We got an old core. We need a young core, all right? So the best thing about it is that most of the lumps, most of the experiences, most of the time on task that you're going to have on the road, that you're going to have in the playoffs, that you're going to have in must-win games that you got to go through, young guys on this team, they don't get to go through that customarily as it stands for the past 7 to 8 years. Now we got a gap. We got a gap where we actually got the young guys on the field. That's the core. You got to push into the youth that has played all of these games. You can't poo-poo 13-6 just because it doesn't look good on the old guys. I could give a damn how Kyle Juszczyk, Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams feel about the season. You're out of here anyway. Moving forward, I told you this before, did I not? I said these new contracts that these guys just got, when Trent got re-signed, when Christian got extended, when George got his money, when Fred got his money, when Nick got his, I said they think that this money is for them to go try to go win multiple Super Bowls. Half of that money is so they can usher in their replacements. And that's what it's going to be. So we got to keep drafting, and we got to get new blood in, more new blood, and we have to get even younger. We're really on track because did you expect to win the Super Bowl this year?
No.
Neither did I. Do you expect to win the Super Bowl next year?
No.
Neither do I. So we're on track because really the biggest problem is let's keep the main thing, which is when we lost the Super Bowl, we were devastated. Why? Because that was the time for us to strike on top of all of the cap shit that we had did and all of the guys that were going to leave, and it was supposed to be a nightmare, and we were supposed to lose all of these guys, and there was going to be no way that we could replace them. And we bit the curb for one season, 6 games. Then we bounced right back with a 13-6 season with a last place schedule. I'll give you that. But we were in a position during this season where we were not supposed to be anywhere near the playoffs or the divisional round on the NFC Championship game. So yes, you brought those things up, but there's equity there. There's a lot of equity with what we've done this year. And you can take a lot of that into the new year because there's a lot of young guys on this team who don't know about the Super Bowls. They heard about them, but they haven't experienced that grind. But this season, it was a grind.
Yeah, it definitely was. I guess the question comes into the future, though. Like, you and I don't expect a Super Bowl, but I mean... Shouldn't we start expecting a Super Bowl? We're going into year 10 with Kyle Shanahan. When can we expect a Super Bowl? Or competing for a Super Bowl again? Not even winning a Super Bowl, but just being true contenders. Because we can say what we want about this team. They exceeded expectations. They were not true contenders for a Super Bowl. We knew that. We knew that was the case. All right?
Right.
Next year, they're not going to be true contenders for a Super Bowl. At least we don't expect them to be, and maybe they exceed expectations. When can we expect that? Now, my whole thought process was 2027. Now, I did get it wrong. I said, hey, they're not going to win a playoff game again until 2027. Obviously, they did that this year. But really what I was saying was this team's not going to be in contention until then. This is not going to be a serious team until 2027. So that's the reality of this team is if everything goes right for the next 2 drafts and the next 2 off seasons, they can be in contention, true contention again in 2027. But there's so much that we've got to rely on, so much perfection that has to happen over these next 2 off seasons in order for that to even happen. And that's what worries me.
Where's the perfection, Jesse?
It has to be perfection because they fucked it up all the way up until this point.
Here goes the deal. We're going to go ahead and talk about the pink elephant in the room. They ain't good at drafting. All right? Sometimes they miss it. All right? You can't say they're good at drafting with Ricky Pearsall sitting on your roster. All right? So sometimes they miss. Nick Martin, come on. All right? Jordan James, what? I think that they played Jordan James just to fucking spite us. Yeah. Just to spite us. Like last game of the season in a blowout, Jordan James gets his first carry. Okay, that's awesome. All right, Jordan Watkins. Didn't see a lot of Jordan Watkins this year. So, yes, there's some guys where you don't want to call them busts or you don't want to call them, but they're not effective. They're not available. They need to be able to draft the guys that they still have. We still have to get trenches. We need I give up on offensive line. I don't even feel knowledgeable talking about offensive line when it comes to the Niners because they never do anything with the offensive line. I think we need a new center, but what the fuck do I know? I don't know. Kyle Shanahan just said that Jake Brendel was hands down one of the best centers in the league. You know what I'm saying? So this is the only thing that really blows me away with your takes is where do you mean perfect? Because there's no perfect draft. You could throw injuries out of the window. That's just, we're hurt when we're good. So injuries is always going to be there. What do you mean by perfect? What needs to be perfect for them to get back into contention when they had a 13-game swing from 6-game losses a season ago? So who is perfect that we have to go up against, Jesse? Who's that juggernaut team?
It's not about there being juggernaut teams. It's that the teams that are within the division that are ahead of us draft well every season. and we have a gap to close. So they're going to draft. Perception is they're going to draft well again because that's what they always do. And so how else do we close the gap if we aren't phenomenal through the draft and through the offseason for the next 2 years? Because there's a clear talent gap between us and Seattle and the Rams. There just is. And that talent gap, the only reason it's even somewhat close is because we've got a bunch of older players that are bringing that talent up. But we talked about this at one point during the season. When we look at this team and we say, oh my gosh, in 2 seasons from now, who are the core players? And we struggled to find anybody on this roster that wasn't named Fred Warner. And even then we're like, I don't know, I'll be 32. And no. Who are the core players? Who is the young core of this team that's going to usher in this next generation? You talked about, well, it's, screw Trent Williams. And you didn't say that, but essentially, Trent Williams and CMC, they're not even the future anyways. Kyle Juszczyk, that's great. But not only do we have to find a core outside of them, but we have to replace those guys along the way. And that's big shoes to fill. So where is this team headed long term?
Bro, long term, first of all, where the team is headed long term is what money is for. That you handle that for where the team is heading with contracts. As far as personnel and guys, man, that's year by year. All right. We brought in a good batch of young guys this year that contributed. Not all of them, but most of them. Why are you shaking your head when I say that, bro? As if we didn't get good work out of young guys this year. Like Upton Stout was not a good guy that helped us out this year. Like Alfred Collins. I myself was down on Alfred Collins, bro. Alfred Collins was phenomenal for us this year. Where would we be without him? Honestly. Are you about to chop down Alfred Collins? Are you looking for stats?
I'm not.
Is that what you're doing?
At all. No, I'm not at all. It's not. Don't turn this on me. You didn't even like Alfred Collins, first of all.
I said it.
Don't act like you're an Alfred Collins truther all of a sudden. No, I'm just joking. Listen. I'm totally joking. No, the players that you're mentioning are good players, but they're not yet showing that they're a core of a team. Those guys are good pieces, but they're not the star players. Like, let me give you an example right now.
I would love for you to talk to me about the star player of our core that we drafted that immediately turned on outside of George.
I'm just saying who are the okay. I'm just going to go the last 3 drafts.
Nick Bosa couldn't even get on the field immediately as a rookie.
Okay, so do you see star potential, like true star potential, difference-making star potential in the guys that we drafted this year? Not good players, not guys who can be a part of a starting lineup. I'm talking about difference makers, true star players.
Only one. Upton Stout.
Okay. How about the last 3 drafts?
The last 3 drafts. Let me get it in front of me while we're
you go through it. You get it in front of you. I'm going to go through a couple of the other rosters within the division over the last 3 drafts. Stop it. Seahawks, Gray Zabel, Nick Emanwari, Byron Murphy, Devin Witherspoon, JSN, Zach Charbonnet, Rams, Jared Verse, Puka Nacua, Byron Young, Kobe Turner. That's not even mentioning the good French players like Braden Fisk, Cam Kitchens, Terrence Ferguson, Jordan Whittington. Like,
what are you... Jesse, all of the people that you have named were there when we played the Rams twice this season. Okay,
I got that.
Like, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about how are we replacing Trent Williams, CMC, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle,
draft and with free agency. And with the money that we've had
to get, you just said they're not good at.
Hold on,
they're not good at drafting. You said that. You just said that.
I conceded that to you because I know that was coming out of your fucking back pocket whenever I mentioned the draft. One thing that you're not mentioning, Jesse, is that while we're having these 13-6 seasons off of having the most injured team in the fucking league, we're also cleaning our books. Okay, so while you're sitting here looking at all of these players on these other teams that got drafted and picked up and they're doing swimmingly well and they're losing to us, by the way, They're going 500. We're going in there with Mac Jones, by the way.
Not when it matters. Not when it matters.
Okay.
But.
No, I'm just saying, since you want to bring up all the names, I'm looking at the actual net of them losing and winning. All right. You're still not understanding that the Niners are coming in finally from the Trey Lance shit where we finally have a third draft of a full complement of players. We haven't even had that's what just dawned on me as you're sitting here talking to me about all of these players. 2023, the first pick for the Niners, 87th overall, Jair Brown. Okay. We picked 31 in 2024 and 22. We picked 61 overall, bro. So to sit here and act as though that we
27th this year.
All right,
because
to sit
of this
here,
amazing year they had.
All right, to sit here and act like as if we haven't had things that we got to go back and clean up. We're still paying for the Trey Lance trade. Still. So it has to come from somewhere.
Real quick.
It has to come from somewhere.
You're excited about all the money that we get this offseason? The Rams have $25 million more in cap space than we do, and Seattle has $45 million more in cap space than we do this upcoming season. And $45 million.
And they still got to pay their guys.
Off of us twice.
They're
and they
younger.
Have $45 million in cap space more than the 49ers this offseason.
So what the fuck do you suppose we do? Because, wait a minute, before you answer that, because I'm talking about things that we actually have to go into, which is the draft. I'm talking about free agency. I'm talking about cleaning up the cap. These are things that are not going anywhere, that we've actually been working on, and that we had what I would say is losses in those areas before. What would you say we do? Give me a solution. If you can tell me everywhere the Niners are fucked, walk us out of here, Captain Ahab.
Well, I will in 2 weeks when we do our show where we go into detail as to what we should do
You're
this
full of fucking
offseason.
shit. Shut the fuck up. You're full of shit. I'm telling you.
Full of shit.
Give me an answer.
I told you we're going to go through the whole fucking offseason. Do you want me to do that now? You want me to run through the whole offseason and what I would do right now? Is that what you're looking for? What? The answer is they're not going to compete for a Super Bowl for probably at least 2 more seasons if we're lucky. That's the answer.
Oh my God. Say that one more time.
They're not going to compete for a Super Bowl for at least 2 more seasons if they're lucky. That's what I'm telling you.
So what the fuck are you belly aching about? We're not Super Bowl contenders. So what's the problem?
What's the fucking point of playing the game? You're trying to win a Super Bowl.
To get better in 2 years. What are you talking about? What's the point? Because they have to get better to be better in 2 years. So we're supposed to just fucking concede 2 seasons? I love you, man. Let's talk about something else, bro.
We're going into year 10 of Kyle Shanahan, and now we're hoping that in year 11 we might have another chance to win a Super Bowl. You're moving
the goalposts now.
That's what we're talking about.
Now we'll be 2 years. In 2 years, we'll just be ready to hopefully contend to. Now we're going into year 11 with Kyle Shanahan, which you just said at the beginning of this show was the best season that you and I have ever been a part of with Kyle Shanahan.
Sure.
Ergo, saying that I think that it was a phenomenal coaching job by Coach Shanahan this year. What say you? All right, then. So how can that be so do you think we should let Kyle go?
No, but we should let John Lynch go.
All right, that's cool. But what I'm saying is that what does that have to do with Kyle Shanahan being in year 11? You want to let John Lynch go? Cool.
The point is that as fans, we want something to be excited about, not the sobering reality of this team is bare minimum 2 years away from being true Super Bowl contenders.
Okay.
Right. And you and I both tend to agree, right? We're coming at it from different standpoints where you're saying, well, dude, if you believe that, then shut the fuck up, sit on your hands and let it be. But that's not the reality. We got a whole bunch of people watching that expect a Super Bowl from this team. And every offseason when they don't win a Super Bowl, and if next year they have if they take a step back on paper and win 9, 10 games and don't make the playoffs or don't win multiple playoff games are going to be calling for Kyle Shanahan's head because they want to see a Super Bowl. So how do they win a Super Bowl in the next year? The answer is they don't. You agree with that. So
I know we don't win a Super Bowl in the next year, but what I also understand is that I love the game. I'm not here to say that as like some like self-righteous shit as if nobody else loves it, right? But I love the game. I love the process. I had a great time this season, all right, watching us grow. I had a phenomenal time watching these guys, the older guys, play out the last years of their season and put it all out there. And I had the last month where we had the number 1 seed, the NFC West division, the possible chance to go to the NFC West championship. I mean, the NFC conference championship game, going into Philly and whooping their ass. I had a fucking blast. That was awesome for me. Okay. And you know what? You know why also I had a blast? It's because I wasn't lying to myself thinking that, oh, we are for sure deserve to be in the Super Bowl. Part of the reason why I had such a great time this season is because I know there's a sense of us that we weren't supposed to be there. We weren't supposed to be there. And they were playing outside of themselves. And they could do it again next season with a whole new group of rookies, with new guys that are coming here. And you know what? They can galvanize off this experience, a new experience, not some stupid ass shit about going after a Super Bowl that is not there. All right? Something that's based in reality. And I'm saying if you miss it, it's not going to be 2 years. It's going to be 4, 5 years. But there's something new that started this season, Jesse. It's not, I'm just frustrated because I think you're being facetious about it because you're looking at it from the lens of the core, like Kyle Shanahan, all of the shit that we say. Oh, he blows leads. Here goes Kyle. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. The Niners have the core, but they can't play without a quarterback. All of that shit finally died for one season. For one season, none of that shit mattered. We got to enjoy Kyle coaching. We got to look at rookies actually playing, bruh. And that is something that they can take into next year. I think that there's a new conversation about this team this year, and it's because of what they did. And I don't care if it was about on the last place season, a schedule. I don't care. They went out there and they played the games and they won. That shit matters. If you missed that, Jesse, then we're cynical, bro. We're no better than everybody else. If we go right back into the old talking points, we're no better.
I'm not doing that. We're talking about two separate things. We can enjoy the season, appreciate it, and give it kudos for what it was, and then also say, yeah, but what about the future? This season's over now. The magic, the fun, all that shit's done. It's over. So now I'm looking at the future. And the core does matter. What do you mean? That's when I say, well, now we're going into year 10 of Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. Mm-hmm. And we don't even have a true future setup of players that we can say this is our building blocks. These are the guys we're truly building around. These are the stars of the team. This is the next wave of the team that we're building around so that we can be potentially contenders in 27, 28, and 29. That's what I'm saying. That core is not yet there. You're saying, well, maybe they can find it in this year's draft. Okay, well, maybe. But as of right now, when I look at it, what is the core? Like, what is the reason for optimism other than saying, well, this year was fun and they exceeded expectations? No. Why should I be optimistic that this team can compete for a Super Bowl in the upcoming years based off the core that doesn't exist? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
All right. So the core that you're talking about that doesn't exist needs to be brought in by the old core moving out, Jesse. So Trent Williams is still here. Congratulations. That's your left tackle. All right. Guess who our starting running back is going to be next year? No matter what.
Christian McCaffrey.
Say it with me. Christian McCaffrey. Okay. If he's healthy, I don't think he is. We got to figure out what's going on at tight end. All right. But guess who's going to be playing edge for us? Nick Bosa. That's happening. All right. So while you're worried about ushering in a new core and you're not too thrilled about what we have as the existing core of what we have, that's not going to ride us to a Super Bowl, I agree with you. I see that what we have is not enough to win a Super Bowl. I get that. And presently constructed, the young guys that we have, none of them are strong enough to usurp any of those guys, to move forward, to lean on those guys. I agree with that as well. But that's an ongoing thing that happens through offseason, okay? The reason why we figured out what the core is because so many young guys squandered it, all right? Aaron Banks, taking forever to get on the field, all right? Spencer Burford, on and off, all right? We had tons of running backs who never panned out to do anything. Brandon Ayuk went fucking postal on us. State's witness, he's gone, all right? Deebo Samuel was not a guy. We had guys that were overpaid. So, yes, we have to usher in guys with more experience, and they will get that when we see what they do on the offseason, how these guys start showing up to OTAs and mandatory camp, and then the rookies that we'll bring in. But you yourself said that it takes 2 more seasons at least for us to start looking at this team to say, what are we doing? But what you have to realize is that where we are now, and it's a rebuild. And if you understand that we're in a rebuild now, then you've got to feel phenomenal about where we stand with what we did in the season and where we are fiscally. Now, if you compare us to Seattle or the Rams, teams who also did not win in that stead outside of the Rams, all right, but had time to get their shit together, then that's fine. That's fine. If you want to look at what Seattle's doing with Coach McDonald, and see what they're doing over there, I get that. They went and got their trenches. They got their big, nasty, dark side defense. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Glad you got it, all right? But at the same time, man, they whooped our ass. We got to go worry about responding to that and getting more players in here. We ain't going to do that worrying about a core. We ain't got no O-line, man. We don't got no D-line. If you want to talk about a core is something that you put on top of depth. We don't even have depth. So we need to worry about the draft and bringing in more people. That's the business of the 49ers right now. It ain't sexy. It's not. But we need linemen. We need to control the line of scrimmage. That's what's happening with us. We need speed on the outside. We need receivers.
You just named a lot of things that this team needs on the heels of saying this team doesn't draft well. So,
oh my fucking God, bro.
We're getting the core from where exactly and how exactly? You can't say from the draft, but then you don't trust them to draft.
From the draft. You have to get it from the draft.
Okay.
All right, I'm not going to sit here and try to make up a new vestige of the offseason that nobody's ever heard of. You still got to get it right. Even if they fuck up the draft, you got to get it right. Would you say Mykel Williams was a good pick?
I don't know yet. He just had a torn ACL. I'm not sure. I wanted them to draft Mykel Williams. I like Mykel Williams, but I don't know that he was a good pick. How do I know that yet? I'm not saying he's a bad pick, but I don't know that he was a good one.
But you don't know if you're not saying he was a bad pick.
I don't know. It's too early to tell on Mykel. He just had a torn ACL, man. I don't know.
What you saw from Mykel Williams, were you pleased with his performance?
I like Mykel. I'm glad that they drafted him.
So what the hell is wrong with you? When I asked you about how you feel about the pick.
Because he has a torn ACL.
All right.
I don't know that he can stay healthy. I think Ricky Pearsall's a good player, but he can't stay healthy either. So what do I make of that?
All right, Jeff.
You act like that's an unfair answer to give. How is that an unfair answer?
Because what I'm saying is that I understand that the guys have injuries, but that's just the makeup of the team. That's what they're going to be. It's pro football. They're going to be hurt.
I guess.
Would
but
you
that
say?
Doesn't mean...
So are you ready to give up on Ricky? Would you say his injuries are chronic?
Unfortunately, you're going to have him for at least one more year. So you hope. That
would you say the same about Mykel?
It's way too early on Mykel. We have a half a season of data on Mykel Williams, and he's 21 years old. Unlike Ricky, he wasn't drafted as an old player. Like, he was drafted with room to grow. The problem is that Mykel Williams had a lot of development that needed to happen this upcoming offseason. And he's not going to be able to do that because he's trying to rehab from an injury, one that he just said he doesn't even know if he's going to be ready for training camp yet for. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of Mykel Williams. maybe he's going to be awesome, but maybe he's a complete bust. I don't know.
I mean, I mean, are we both Niners fans here?
Guys,
Do you like what he's done on the field? Do you believe in the production? Do you understand why he's here?
Yeah, I fucking banged a drum for them to draft him if they didn't draft Walter Nolan. Of course I know why he's here. I sat here and said, I've got a tweet you can pull up before he was even drafted saying,
right.
if he gets drafted, Niner fans are going to hate the pick all season long. And then by year 2 or 3, he's going to be an absolute dog and people are going to be like, oh, what a pick. And I believed in that. But then he tore his ACL. So that changes the game completely. We act like that's just a little thing. Like that stunts his whole growth. We both agree he needed to grow. He needed to develop, but he was going to be early on a good run defender, which he showed. But he has development he has to do. And when that gets stripped from you, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. So I don't know what's going to happen with Mykel Williams. And to say, oh, are we even fans here? All right, listen, if that's what we're doing, then everything the 49ers did is great. Ricky Pearsall, it's not his fault. I mean, Mykel Williams is a superstar.
Let's get it out.
Coach. I'm a Niner fan. He's a superstar.
Let's get it out of the way. What is it about the 13-6 season that makes you feel as though that none of this can be carried into next year? What is it about? Why do you have an outlook on the season that basically says that, cool, bro, they had a weak schedule and they came out 13-6. They're super fucking lucky that the shoe dropped at the very end rather than it did in the middle of the season. Why do you have this disposition? Why can't you see that there could be a chance where things fell our way and we could take this experience into next year?
Okay, well, let's see how much you believe, superfan. Do the 49ers make it to the playoffs next year?
No.
Then what are we even talking about?
What are you talking about? Did the 49ers make it to the Super Bowl?
They got building blocks. They were 13-6.
Did the 49ers make it to the Super Bowl next year?
They were 13-6.
You're not going to do this.
But you're saying they're not going to make the playoffs.
You're not going to do this. You're not going to do this. Did we not both agree that the Niners? Did we not both agree that the Niners are not going to make the Super Bowl within 2 years? Did you not say that?
No, I said they were.
Did you not say that? Yes or no?
For at least 2 years.
Is that not the same thing? So they're not going to the Super Bowl for 2 years. Did we not agree on that?
Yeah, but you just said I just asked you playoffs.
I just
said they're not making the playoffs next year.
I asked you a direct question. Did you not agree with me that we would not make the Super Bowl for at least the next 2 years?
Oh, yes. 100%. Yep.
100%. So if we ain't going to make the Super Bowl and we're in pursuit of building our team to be ready for a Super Bowl in 2 years, what the hell does it matter if we make the playoffs or not next year?
But you're the optimistic super fan. You're the optimistic. So you're selling me. I'm the pessimistic one. Sell me why I should be optimistic.
Because I want us to build, negative fan. Okay?
Yeah,
what I want us to do, negative fan, is I want us to understand that even in the course of trying to go get a Super Bowl, you may have to take a couple of steps back to go 10 steps forward, negative fan. I'm also trying to get you to realize that even though we have time on task of seeing that we've had past drafts that we didn't do well on, we still have to go out there and still draft, negative fan. So we still have to go out there and make the picks. So while you're looking at other teams who are successful, negative fan, you have to remember that the Niners, albeit didn't give you a Super Bowl, they still gave you something positive to cheer for, negative fan. And in the case of that, yes, and in the guise of doing that, they're still trying to get better. There's a couple of things. Fiscally, the Niners worked on their salary cap, all right? And they took on dead money. Hold on, negative fan. Even though there's other teams that may have more money than us, that may be doing better, negative fan, I need you to start focusing on your team, okay? And understanding that it's going to take multiple years. And in those 2 years, guess what? We may not be popular. We may not make the playoffs. We may have to get younger guys of our own that make names for themselves, negative fan, and you may have to just ride with them. That's what I'm saying. So while you're sitting here looking at what these other teams are doing while we're trying to pay our dues and pay our weight over the shit that we did in past years, we still have to do those things to get better. So if we don't make the playoffs next year, who cares? We're not going to the Super Bowl anyway. But if we get, all right, so let me ask you this. What matters to you more? Making the playoffs next year or having the first 3 picks of our draft hit?
Having the first 3 picks of the draft hit.
So what does it matter?
But if they have the first 3 picks hit, then they probably are making the playoffs.
What if we have another injury-plagued season and context takes over?
We are probably going to, because they always
All right
do.
then. So all I'm saying is that I'm focused on getting better. We are better than we were last year. We're better. And next year, I want us to be better than we were last year. I don't care about us in our Super Bowl years. I don't care about everybody else. I'm counting on the fact that if we are better than ourselves from the previous season, we are going to be better or on par with other teams because we still have a standard. I could see if we walked away from that 13-6 season and walked away from the divisional round and felt like, whoo, this is the best thing since sliced bread. No, there's tons of people in that building who know that we can do more. But we still preserved our standard. And being better than what we were last year, even if it doesn't get us to a divisional round in the playoffs, it still gets us to where we need to be because we got issues.
Okay. So for everybody in the chat that thinks that I'm a fakeful and Coach thinks I'm not a super fan, I want to know.
No, you started with the positive fan shit.
How is this? Because you said, are we even fans here? So that's where it came from. That's fair. It's fair.
That's fair.
All is fair in love. All is fair in love and war.
That's fair.
I'm not taking it personal, but here's the deal. We got a lot of people in the chat that, oh, Jesse's a fakeful. All right, so be it. You tell me when we're winning a fucking Super Bowl then. For all of you that are real fans, no. For all of you that are real fans in this chat, first of all, were you old enough to even be around for the last Super Bowl? And second of all, when's the Super Bowl coming? Is this 13-6 season after the playoffs? Is this season going to propel them to being better next year? Are they going to make the playoffs next year and win a playoff game? Is it going to be 2027? When are they going to win a Super Bowl? When are they going to win a Super Bowl? And if that doesn't matter to you, then so be it. If my expectation of this team is to eventually win a ring before I die on this earth, then guess what? I'm a fake fan then. If that's the expectation is that they eventually win a Super Bowl, call me a fake fan. But I am trying to find out what is the path. And when you say, oh, we should be happy and they went 13-6 and they're going to build. And then in the next breath say they're not making the playoffs next year. Then what are we building on off of a 13-6 season? How are we going to get there? Well, they don't draft well. Okay, but then how are they going to do it? Well, through the draft, but they don't draft well. Like it's all contradictory to me. All of it.
But
Super
you have
fan?
a plan. But you have but you have a plan though. But you have a plan.
I don't have a plan. That's the problem. I don't have a plan. There's too much that has to be done with this team right now. I have a plan. I'll have a plan for the offseason, right? Like how to improve and try to like build towards the future.
What plan do you think I'm talking about?
But the 49ers never, they never are going to follow what we do. And then we're going to sit back. We're going to watch another draft. Like we know how this goes. We're going to watch another draft. We're going to get super excited about how the 49ers were smarter than everybody by overdrafting Nick Martin or whoever the fuck it is, Cam Latu or whoever this year. And then when that happens, we're going to be like, oh, this guy is just the Robert Saleh knows or whoever Kyle Shanahan knows. And then we're going to be sitting here next year going, yeah, man, another crappy draft. Maybe get him next year, guys. Like, all right, cool. I guess.
I had a great time this season. I think there's a lot that we can carry into next year.
I did too. I think
Alfred
genuinely
Collins,
had a great time.
If these guys take the time they need, but take the offseason seriously. We could see a completely different Alfred Collins next season. I understand about Mykel Williams. Yes, I agree with you. Him being hurt stifles his growth and his development, and it's a gut wrenching injury. All right. But we do need him back. And when he is playing, Jesse, dude, he's a force, especially on the inside. I think that we can get guys that can help us. You know, CJ West was a late arrival to the lineup and actually showed some flashes. Now, as far as edge is concerned, we're completely bereft. There's nothing there, right? I wouldn't even count on Bryce Huff. That's something that we're going to have to completely remake. And I'm not leaning on Nick Bosa to kind of be the anchor of the edge anymore, especially what we do in the draft or what we do in the offseason and free agency. So yeah, there's some things that actually that need to change, and they need to change immediately. But there's also some guys that we need to keep and make homegrown. Good teams develop guys. They don't live and die off of free agency. And I don't want to be one of those teams going shopping for a team in free agency and then lying to ourselves with a bunch of guys who were trying to learn their names before camp starts. You know, we have to be able to get young guys in here and get drafts. And we draft. Let's specify the draft. Yes, I agree with you. Early in the draft, we whiff and we reach early in the draft, but there are great guys that we bring in developmental that come in and help us out late. So it's not all bad with the draft. I am conceding that there's horrible draft picks that we've had that, you know, trying to pick drafts in the middle of the draft and getting first round talent out of guys, trying a Cam Latu, that's ridiculous. Drake Jackson was horrible. There's still people that are saying that the jury's still out on Jair Brown or whether or not we should have gotten him. But listen, I believe that there's a lot of things that we can do. And while there just are still opportunities there to do them, then we can't just sit here and just pack up the tent and go home. And yeah, it does give you a little bit of envy to look at what Seattle has done with their team. They're young, they're deep. All right, they got a good offensive line, their defensive line, their whole defense is menacing, and they're innovative. And then on top of it, they're using our shit against us. It's our offense. All right, so yes, I get it.
They took our greatest hits and they remade them.
We made it a hot line. They made it a hot song. Okay, yeah. So I get it. It sucks to watch a team basically be made in the image of you. All right, and they're younger, but we ain't gonna beat them motherfuckers sitting here talking about shoulda, coulda, woulda, and what we are gonna do. What's lost? It's just not gonna happen. And truthfully, I'm not sold on their offense either, bro. I'm not. I was saying
that's
this
fine.
during the live watch show.
We can sit here and all the things that we're not impressed with Seattle.
That's whack. Yes,
they're
in the
NFC Championship.
Yes,
and we're
that's
not.
whack. That's whack.
The bottom line is
Hold on. Let me rescind that. That's whack. I'm sorry. Seattle deserves to be in the NFC Championship game. That was whack. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But okay, here's the thing. I'm gonna sum up my approach here and basically everything that I've been trying to say. Because I'm sitting here thinking about like, what is the best way to deliver this? Like, get my thoughts out there. Essentially, it's this. I was so impressed and excited about this season and loved this season so much because of what they went through, how hard they fought, exceeded all the expectations. So much so that I want that same excitement and that same like fan feeling about the future. And when I step back and I look at it, I don't see it. And that's where this conversation's coming from. And that's why I said I want to separate what happened this season and look towards the future. I just don't have that same fun-loving excitement towards the future, because now it's like, I said this on the show the other day, and I'm going to say it again. Cover your ears. I know this is supposed to be a family show. It's like the post-nut clarity. Like,
yeah,
okay,
you do get a little post-nut clarity. You get a little bit of...
The season's over, all right? But now it's like, dang, I don't...
Were you wearing that last night?
It ain't... Yeah, I don't... Oh, okay. Like, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at right now, where it's like, man...
I got an Uber for you.
Exactly.
Got an Uber.
Exactly.
Ready? Got an Uber.
So that's... I don't know. That's the way that I feel about it. Yeah, that's the way I feel about it. That's the way I feel about it. I know we got to get to Super Chats.
All right, let's get to some super chats. We got sleeper.
Let's do sleeper. Let's do sleeper real quick. Then we'll get to the supers. Yeah.
Let's get to some sleepers. Go ahead, man.
All right. Let's make some picks for Also, just as a football fan, real quick side note, how much does it suck that Bo Nix is out for the AFC Championship game? Like, we can basically just pencil in the Pats at this point, right?
Yeah, the Pats are going. It's anticlimactic. We already know
and
what's
then,
going on.
And then we got an NFC West team that's going to the Super Bowl, and chances are they're going to win it, which sucks even more. All right, let's make 4 picks total. So, Jared Stidham interception. I'm going to take the more on that one. I feel really good about that one. Backup quarterback coming in. Yeah, AFC Championship. I feel like that's a given. Let's go Kenneth Walker touchdown. No Zach Charbonnet. Feel good about that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Here we go. Can the Rams force Sam Darnold to beat them? And if so, does he go more or less than 234.5 passing yards? Like, how do you see this game playing out? You think it's a Sam Darnold game, or you think that they can continue to run the ball with success?
They got to run the ball.
Okay,
it's
so
not
we're going to go less there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then Devontae Adams, 50.5 receiving yards, more or less.
More.
All right, let's do that. All right, we're going to enter that. We're going to put 10 down on it. We're going to submit that entry for 7 times the amount. $10 to win 72. We got Devontae Adams going more on 50.5. We got Sam Darnold on the less, 234.5. Kenneth Walker, we got scoring a touchdown. And Jared Stidham, we have throwing an interception. Link is pinned to the top of the description. Get your 100% deposit match of up to $100. Also get your free $20 play. Sleeper's the fastest growing fantasy app out there. They've been a sponsor of the channel all year long. We appreciate you, Sleeper. You can tail us or you can fade us, but either way, use promo code LSS. All right, let's get to these supers.
Respect. So let's get to a couple of these supers. Smells like foot in here. I'm not putting this all on Brock Purdy by any means, but this narrative that he played great, damn, Niner fans, are you really that broken and standards that low? I don't think anybody said that Brock Purdy great. I didn't. Did you see the what? The
little video that came out today that was like 49er fans trying to sell us or trying to talk themselves into Brock Purdy playing well down the stretch. Did you see that?
No. Oh, we lost Jess. Let's get a couple of these going. I promise you that Jesse's my guy. I didn't kick him out on purpose. He'll be back up. Let me see. You good?
Here. Yeah. I clicked. I was in that window and I was trying to find it on Twitter. You go ahead and read the supers. I'll find it.
Joseph Ohnberg, 7381. We have entered a dark time for this franchise. I don't know. Scuba Pat 199. Kyle loves running backs. Go get Jeremiah Love and build. He's not going to be there. Any chance Shenny allows them to remove Lynch? This is my only thing, and maybe you can answer this, Jesse, and maybe other people in the chat can help me out. What's the purpose of removing John if Kyle hired him? Right? So you're not going to get a traditional GM. So you're really just asking for Kyle to hire somebody else that he likes. Like it's not going to work out the way a traditional GM would play anyway. So it's not as if, Kyle would have to answer to the GM. Removing John doesn't remove the stipulations in which the GM resides inside of the 49ers organization. So what's the difference? I don't see an advantage from removing John Lynch.
I think really what it comes down to is, and only the 49ers front office knows this, we don't know the answers, who is responsible for these drafts? Like who's mostly responsible? I know that everybody has input, but who is mostly responsible? Whoever that is has to be removed from that duty.
Okay. All right. And I
so
think
if that's Shanahan, which may not be,
right,
then he can't have the same input. If it's John Lynch, I'm not saying fire him as far as like he could be a great president or what have you, but he's got to be relieved of his duties of making these draft picks. Like it's been too many drafts in a row without enough hits. Like they got to do something different. They got to do something different with the draft.
Yeah, I think that's more apt. Like whoever's responsible for the draft needs to get fired. But if it's not John, I mean, what's that going to do?
I'm sharing the screen if you want to pull it up. All right, you ready? This is 49er fans grading another Brock Purdy game.
How?
Just trying to talk themselves into him playing great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
Gosh.
We got to finish this up, man. SoCal Ram 88. Rams going to win the Super Bowl in SoFi North Cinema. Let's fucking go.
Who's going to win that game? That's going to be a hell of a game, man.
I don't, it's like kissing your sister. I don't know. I don't know who I want to win.
Not who do you want to win? Who do you think's going to win?
The Rams.
I think so too.
Seattle can't keep up with them. If the Rams get hot and they find a way how to expose, Seattle's defense is good. They're the number one defense in the league. I get it, but we move the ball on them. They can be moved on, and the lateral and genius offensively from Sean McVay to Kyle Shanahan, I bet on that. So with a better quarterback, I think nobody would say that Matt Stafford isn't a better quarterback than Brock Purdy. A better quarterback, a better offensive line. Dare I say, an actual receiver that can get open. Like, I think Seattle, they played really well against us, but this is one thing. We didn't just lose. That was a complete ass whooping. Special teams, offense, and defense, right? Even the water boy came in and got a tackle. Like, everybody had a piece in the beating our ass. So That's the thing. I don't think Seattle has to win that way. They've got to be able to generate points outside of that offense, because without Zach Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker III without Zach Charbonnet was not a load to us. He was a big, strong runner. They had that offensive line, but we could handle him in earlier years. It's the tandem of Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker III what really makes that offensive run game potent for Seattle. So I'm going to be looking for Sam Darnold and those boys to actually open that offense up. And they need a defense that's going to be good enough to actually put some pressure on Sam. I think the Rams have enough pass rushes to make that happen. And I'm not here to say that the Rams are going to blow them out, but they're going to get way more stops than we did. And that's all you need in a game of that magnitude. You just need a couple of stops, and you can go back and forth. Offensively, I think the Rams are going to be too much for Seattle.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we watched both those games. I think the Rams were just the better team through and through. I do have a question though, not for you, but for guys like Rome 33 AD.
Okay.
I just so that I can like make sure that I'm a fan going forward, since we're grown men and we like to police other grown men on how to fan. Rome 33 AD, and you take so much pride in this. I mean, I gotta imagine that the rest of your life's in great order, as much as you just love to police other people. But so Rome 33 AD, if you could write the handbook of how to be a true fan, a true faithful, just put it in the chat, man. Just give us like the 10 rules that we got to follow. Like, like it's the Bible or something. Give us the 10 commandments of how to be a true faithful. Because I don't want to be a faithful or a fakeful. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that my faith is really there with this team. So just throw it in the chat so that I know how to follow it going forward. That'd be great, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Rome. Appreciate it. Be looking for that.
Yeah.
KFW 9257. We haven't had a safety that can cover offensive line that is mid and can't compete with the best D lines like Seattle. A number one receiver for too long. A pass rush threat besides Bosa. Where's the accountability? I think a lot of that lies in the relationship of Kyle Shanahan and ownership. I think that it's a little bit beyond when you churn out seasons like this. Kyle's not going anywhere. I'm sorry, bro. That's just the business of football, bro. What do you think, Jess?
Well, and Kyle, what's funny is I got asked this question by someone today. They're like, okay, well, now that you've seen it again, would you get rid of Kyle this offseason? I'm like, hell no, I wouldn't. First of all, this is like the worst offseason to fire your coach. I can't believe the Bills got rid of McDermott this late into the game. You got 9 other teams looking for a head coach.
They waited too long.
There's not enough good candidates, man. Like, this is not the offseason. Even if Kyle Shanahan had another 6-win season and it looked awful, I still wouldn't do it. This is not the offseason to be looking for a coach. It's just not.
Not only that though, but just think about it right now. If there's what are there 9 teams, 10 teams that are open now, 9 to 10 teams that are at large right now. If Kyle Shanahan threw his hat in the ringer, where do you think he would be as far as like in the pool? He'd be the number one guy. They would be fighting. There would be people that were already hired. Didn't Miami just hire their guy already? Miami would fire their guy for an interview. They would just say, hey, I'm sorry, things happen, but we got to shot the interview.
I know the ink hasn't dried yet, but Buffalo would love to have Kyle Shanahan, I bet you.
Hell yeah. Kyle with Josh Allen, that'd be crazy. Frisco Shills, $4.99. What's up, Frisco? The team consistently brings in players that are under talented and skilled because they know Kyle's system and the defense. It's not bright. Yes, I have talked about that a lot, about them curating draft picks to be able to fit certain skill sets instead of getting a player that's good across the board, right? Getting a guy that knows how to play the H-back position for us, or he's got a really good yak, or you got a running back that's amazing with his first step, but ignoring all of the other traits. I feel like that about Ricky Pearsall. I think Ricky Pearsall was scouted for his route running ability and his ability to create separation in intermediate routes, and his injury history, his age, his actual body makeup. All of that was completely put on the back burner. I believe that.
Yeah, I agree.
Gizmo Maltese, forget the Super Bowl. We have to win back our division. Thank you. This rings true to me. Like, let's deal with the basics first before we get in here start talking about Super Bowls, man.
Well, right now it looks like the Super Bowl is going to go through our division. So
right. So let's win our division. Well, you just want to, what's up with you today, man? What's up with us today?
Nothing. What's
up with us?
I'm just saying, like, if you figure out how to win your division, you might have figured out how to win a Super Bowl.
How to win the Super Bowl.
I'm saying, because all day, those teams are in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and not for nothing. It's not like we do got a weak ass division. We had to go through the guys that are in it. By the way, we're not just playing nobody all day, every day. Kim, Coach Brock ain't good enough to carry like Caleb. I don't know about that. Gizmo Maltese, great season, but that beatdown left a bad taste. It did. And I can understand where you're at, Jesse, with how you feel about the team, because that wasn't just an ending to the season. That was like a statement, right? We got put in our place. That's what sucks about it. Frisco Shields, $9.99. Thank you. Kyle Shanahan and Lynch have been here for 9 years and do not have a personnel infrastructure in place. They keep overdrafting and get deadweight veterans on offense because they know Kyle's system. KFW 9257. The plan is fix the offensive line, get a pass rusher, linebacker depth, a safety that can cover, a corner, and a number one receiver. BA quit. Free agency or draft, whichever makes more sense. Devin Smith, 1354. We overachieved this year, but going forward, we don't have any excitement about the future considering the team's past off-season draft history. Yeah, I mean, listen. We got to see exactly what how the draft bears out for us. But to say that we don't draft well in the face of all of those shitty drafts that we had after the Trey Lance situation, it just, I don't know. It's easy. Frisco Shills, does the Seattle loss show the 49ers have a culture problem? I don't know. Answer that.
No.
That's deep, man. I don't think we have a culture issue, man. I think the culture got strengthened off of this year. What do you think about that?
I don't think there's a culture issue. If you have a culture issue, then that's like
Kyle needs to be fired.
Yeah, then I'd be calling for Kyle's head. If there was a culture, if you have a culture issue,
then not a culture issue. Yeah, if you have a culture issue, then Kyle's voice has gone stale in the locker room. That's when you move on. When they're not responding to him anymore. Blue Bronco 48, listening to Kruger spaz out on Sean Payton. Did he spaz on Sean? All day, every day, Kim. No cupcake schedule next season. SF is toast. It's going to be a tough season. It is. Too much sauce 33. How severe was Tunja's Achilles injury?
I haven't even heard.
That's true. Great 1765. Hope the Rams win it all so Kyle can see McVay win his second before Kyle's first. Ooh. Then maybe Kyle can wake the fuck up and go get a real QB like Allen Lamar and get rid of the king of mediocrity and Purdy. One would say that Purdy saved Kyle's ass, not the other way around. Proper 7146. If you have a good front office, rebuilds don't take that long. I want a full rebuild, but don't trust Lynch's drafting skills. That is true. Like, but again, this is saying that John Lynch is the guy drafting. He's the guy pulling the trigger. We don't know that.
Yeah, like I said, if he is the guy, then
I mean, that's another thing about that sucks being a fan of this team is that it's like you're with the evil empire. You don't know what's happening. You don't know who does what. It's ridiculous. Sergio G52. Niners need to draft some hitters and DBs. Division is deep and elite wide receivers besides the Niners. Even Michael Wilson for Arizona.
You know what's crazy is people are putting out like what is the most important thing to fix this offseason. There's a lot. It's like we should get a linebacker, we should get corners, we should get wide receivers, we should get an offensive line, we should get defensive line, we need running backs, we could use safeties. Like, oh, that sounds like a lot, man. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. El Pancho Loco, core player 1, Maple Missile. That's our dog.
I love Maple Missile.
Hey, look, so I understand, man. Close us out, Jess. I get how you feel about the season moving forward. I mean, about the team moving forward. There doesn't seem to be much to be excited about as far as like the future, right? Like and that's moving in with the team presently constructed. I just believe that you got to go out there and win the games. You got to put your team together. And once you find a guy, for some reason, like the Rams, they knew they had Puka Nacua, but they didn't know they had Puka Nacua. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Like, there's a difference in getting a guy and being able to see him blossom into a name in the league and seeing where he falls. Now, even it's almost like this is what is frustrating about the discussion is because on one hand, the Niners even granted you the ability to even ask the question that you're presenting. Well, when you're saying what young players are going to be stars, if they would have never done it in the first place, you wouldn't even be framing the debate that way. If there wasn't a Fred Warner, if there wasn't a George Kittle, you see what I'm saying? If there weren't these young players that they brought in, if there wasn't a Aziz Al-Shaair presently or Dre Greenlaw or these guys that they brought in that they drafted for and became household names. So yes, being able to ask how are they going to do it again and not knowing the answer is cool. But you also have to appreciate the fact that they're the ones that did it. They did it. They got Fred Warner. They got George in here. So we got to keep drafting. As long as we got picks, we got a shot, dog.
Yeah, it was just a long time ago. It's like, I don't know, man. If you're in a relationship and your significant other used to treat you well, but now doesn't, and it's been years, it's like, okay, well, how long do I live on what it used to be? Like, before I just move on out this bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Frisco Shills, I'm talking about all the petty things the Niners were doing in the Seattle game. Lots of extracurricular activities. Oh, yeah. So the Renardo Green benching. It looked like Kyle was encouraging Renardo. It looked like they had made the decision to pull him because he wasn't responding to being singled out by Seattle. And I don't know what they were saying, but it looked like Kyle's energy was like, he was like nodding to him like, stick with me, bro. Stick with me. Like, we're pulling you now, but stick with me. And he did. He got back on the field within the series. I do feel like the Niners do get a little bit more leeway to police themselves, but I feel like that's not I think that's a mark of not lack of culture, but I feel like that is the culture. I feel like Kyle allows these guys to kind of do what they need to do to be men on the field and just don't do anything within the lines of competition that will fuck up the team. That's when it gets outside of that, that's when things get a little troublesome. But no, I really don't think that if anything, I think the culture was strengthened this season. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they had a 35% turnover on this team. There was a lot of new faces, a lot of young, fresh faces that needed to learn how to play in the NFL and win with this team and learn the 49ers culture. 49ers are far from a culture problem. They do have some weird things. You know, I like guys like Jawan Jennings, But at some point, it's like the theatrics outweigh what you are as a player. And Jawan Jennings is there. Diamador Lenore is towing that edge for sure.
Did you say
he's
what's the
starting to get
squeeze?
close. At some point, so it's like I don't mind having those personalities if you're that dude. But if you're not that dude, you can't be that. Like, I made a joke before the game. Everybody was posting the picture of Trent Williams flipping off the Seahawks fan. And I was like, I don't know about you, but that looks like the energy of a Trent Williams punching somebody after the game's already over to me. Like, I can see that happening when this game, it's almost like every year it happens for like 3 years running. It's like, oh, the 49ers lose. He loses his cool and now he wants to punch somebody. And it was like, that's what you expected. And I don't know, man. It just, there's some things that are a little bit weird. I don't think, like I said, the culture itself is fine, but there's some weird things that some of these guys do.
Understood. Vermilion Cast 6793 Seahawks fan. I'm curious. I've noticed a lot of up and down with your team over the years. And after this season, who is to blame for this and what is important to get? I feel like you need younger players. Yeah, we're old. We got to get younger. A lot of that is what we talked about throughout the season. We just really haven't had a draft. And we've been championship hunting for like the past 5 years. And when you do that, there's not a lot of room for young guys. There's not a lot of room for development. You kind of have your core. You ride with the base of what you have, and you add on pieces when you go along to think that are going to help you with the last 20% because you already got the other 80, right? So everything is about what is that last piece that's going to push us over the edge. The problem is that we got a little tilted as far as all of our fiscal maneuverability, our money, our best players. We became very top heavy by chasing a Super Bowl. And now that we need to come back and lean on our depth, all right, we don't have it there because our drafts haven't been that good and we've moved on a lot of capital to bring in players. So what we're doing right now is we're riding out the last piece of that Super Bowl team. All of the best of what they got, and we're hoping against hope and time that we can use the last talent and years of the Super Bowl team to be able to usher in more depth and younger players to lateral this over so we completely don't fall on our faces. We did it last year by only winning 6 games, but we turn it around by winning 13 and going to the playoffs. We're in the middle right now. So that's where we are. You guys are young, all right? Mind your books. There's going to be an issue where you got to figure out what you're going to do with Sam Darnold one day. Good luck, all right? And you better beat the Rams. That's all I got for you. What do you got for the rest of the week, Jess?
Probably do a call-in show on Wednesday. We'll have 3 Deep as well for the members, and then tomorrow with Sunil probably. Yeah.
All right, man.
And then next week. Listen, we're not going to do this show for 2 weeks because next week I'll be in the middle of a move. So. No show next week, but in 2 weeks, little teaser, we are going to come with our full off-season plan, which is why I was a little thrown off there, Coach, of, hey, why are we talking off-season plans and how to fix it?
You got me hot and bothered. Man.
All right, but it's 2 weeks away, Coach. Like, give me some time here, all right? Season just ended. Let me have my exit interviews with the players and such first, okay?
Yeah, talk to who you need to. They handle your business, bro. I know you got things to do. You're an important person. I got Neutral Zone tomorrow. Definitely, I got 3. I also have 3-point stance with me, Chunder Boy, and Tom. Also, I have the 3 Deep show with us, and call-in shows are back. Trying to figure out what days I want to start them on. I want to do it with Fridays or Saturdays. So we'll see how call-in shows are going to go, but they're definitely back. And draft prep. I'm excited to start talking about bringing in some new blood to this team. They did well. It was awesome, but this version of the team is officially done. It's time for us to build a new version for the year. And that's honestly what I like to do, Jess. I know that we're looking at teams about what are we going to be in 2 years? How are we going to be able to, stage out a Super Bowl window or build to a Super Bowl? But if you let it go year by, if you just look at what this year's team is going to do, I swear it's a lot more enjoyable to watch. I'm just excited to see what they do, what 2026 Niners are going to look like. I'm not going any further.
That's fair. I want to make sure that I let everybody know in the chat. I asked for the 10 commandments. I got 3. All right. But I want to make sure this is a way to start. So if you can do these 3 things, you're on your way to being a true faithful Number one, you have to glaze Brock Purdy, according to the chat.
Okay.
You have to hate Trey Lance, and you have to follow David Lombardi. If you're doing those three things, you, my friend, might be a super faithful. So hang in there, all right?
I'm fucked.
That's what the chat said. Those are the things. So.
Oh, and then also, guys, let me know in the chat. Let me know if you guys want me to keep calling games. All right. So if you want me to call the rest of the playoffs in the Super Bowl, get the AFC Championship or the NFC Championship in the Super Bowl, let me know. I'm not doing both championship games. So let me know either to do the NFC Championship or the AFC.
Got to do the NFC. I got to be the NFC. Absolutely has to be the NFC. Has to be the NFC.
Nobody. The other one's pretty boring. So I'm going to do the NFC Championship in the Super Bowl, man. So let me know, guys. Hey, this is the coach signing off. Stay low and keep your feet moving. Talk to you guys. Peace.